If I lost all my progress today and had to start working out from skinny fat, this is exactly what I do to get results fast. Being stuck in the skinny fat phase is so frustrating because you've got a little bit of belly fat but also barely any muscle definition, and all the information you see online is either telling you to cut calories to lose the fat or bulk to build muscle and risk gaining more excess fat. It's just so hard to navigate when starting from skinny fat because no one tells you clearly what the heck you're supposed to do. If that was where I was at right now, these are the exact steps I would take to lose fat, gain muscle, and become the fittest version of myself I've ever been. And these steps can work for you too. Step 1. Start with strength, not cardio. I know that's going to sound a little bit controversial to kick things off, but when starting from skinny fat, the first thing I do is focus on strength and resistance training rather than cardio. Why? Because building muscle is the key to transforming your body composition. Think about it. If you're building muscle and the amount of fat you already have remains the same, then your body composition is naturally gonna improve. And on top of that, muscle tissue actually burns more calories than fat tissue. So the more muscle mass you have, the faster your metabolism is gonna be, the more calories you're gonna be able to eat for the same amount of exercise that you're doing. Not to mention the importance of muscle mass just for your general health and longevity. Usually the first thing people think of when they want to lose fat is starting running or something like that. But honestly, if you do more cardio, if you rely on that to lose fat mass, then it's gonna make it harder for you because running long distances won't help you build muscle. So in order to keep burning the same amount of calories to lose fat, you will have to keep doing the same amount of cardio or more as your body adapts. Whereas if you start doing resistance training and build more muscle mass, then you will be able to eat more without doing more work. When starting from skinny fat, I wouldn't cut out cardio completely because it will help you burn more calories. So what I would do personally is just make sure that I'm getting in 10k steps every single day. And on my rest days from the gym, I'd get outside and just do something active, like go for a cycle, go for a bit of a longer walk or hike. I might go for a run if I feel like it, but I won't push it on myself because I'm personally not the biggest fan of running. And the important thing is that you're choosing activities and forms of exercise that you actually enjoy, because that way you're gonna be able to stick to it for longer and it'll make it so much more likely that you actually reach your goal. In terms of workouts, I'd want them to be simple and effective so I can get the most bang for my buck out of the exercises that I'm doing. So I'd start off with doing compound exercises, so things like squats, deadlifts, pull-ups, push-ups, things like that. I choose to focus on those kind of exercises first because they're going to be working the most muscle groups at the same time. They also tend to burn slightly more calories than isolation exercises like bicep curls or tricep extensions. And I would include these exercises in my routine as a 3-day full body split. I'm only going to commit to 3 workouts to start off with because if I do more than that, I might end up falling off and that would leave me more disheartened than when I started. 3 days might not sound like much, but honestly, it can make the world of a difference, especially if you're starting from scratch. So in each of my full body workouts, I'd aim to include 5 to 6 exercises. The first 3 or 4 exercises of each of my workouts would be the compound exercises, and I want to put them at the start of my workouts because that's when I'm going to have the most energy and I'll be able to put the most effort into them. I'd finish off each of my workouts with 2 or 3 isolation exercises, and these are really to start building the proportions of my physique. Because even though when you're starting from skinny fat you don't have much muscle definition to begin with, when you start building the smaller muscles up, as you start to lose that layer of fat, then it's gonna show through. So we want to include the isolation exercises so we can start building a balanced physique. Between each of my compound exercises, I'd rest around 1.5 to 3 minutes. And then between the sets of my isolation exercises, I'd rest between 30 seconds to a minute. You generally want to use shorter rest times for your isolation exercises because you're not using so many different muscle groups. It's mainly focused on one, and that's not going to take as long for your body to recover. Whereas with your compound exercises, you're not just going to be fatiguing multiple muscle groups, you're also going to be fatiguing your central nervous system, also your skeletal system to some extent, so you're going to need longer to recover between your sets. Step 2 is nutrition, and this is a tricky one because you want to lose fat but build muscle at the same time. And most people will tell you that you can't do both of them together. So I'd adjust my nutrition to hit that sweet spot. Just enough calories to build muscle, but not too many calories that I'm gaining excess fat. For me, that would mean starting at maintenance calories and then tweaking as needed. So maintenance calories, just quickly, are the calories that you need to eat to maintain your current weight. Generally, this number of calories will be enough to give your body the energy it needs to fuel your workouts plus build muscle. And another way to think about it is some of the calories that you're eating are going to be used to fuel your workouts and build new muscle tissue. That means that you're not going to have as many calories to be stored as excess fat, so you can build muscle while losing fat at the same time. But just a note on that one, everyone's calories are going to be different because all of our bodies are different, all of our metabolisms are different. How we respond to our exercise and our food is going to be different. So it's important that you pay attention to the changes that are happening to your body over the weeks and then adjust your calories as needed. Since you're losing fat and building muscle at the same time, it's going to be really hard for you to track your progress using the traditional method, which is just stepping on the scales. So what I would do is I would take weekly progress photos and measurements. So like waist measurement, glute measurement, and thigh measurement. You can do others if you want, but I personally think that's all you need. And keeping track of those measurements over the weeks is going to be a really good indicator that I'm making progress in the right direction. It's super important not to fall for any of these crash diets thinking that it's going to get your results faster, because I'm telling you now, there are no shortcuts and there are no quick fixes. And most of the time when it comes to fad diets, people usually regain the weight back or more than they lost in the first place. So when it comes to my exact diet and the things I would be eating, the number one thing that I'd prioritize is my protein intake. So I'd aim to get at least 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight each day, because protein is the most important macronutrient that your body needs to be able to build new muscle tissue. It's also really important in helping you with your body composition, and studies have shown that people who were on weight loss diets who didn't get in enough protein, they lost more muscle mass along with the fat mass they lost than the group who was eating enough protein. And generally, when you lose muscle mass, your metabolism is also going to slow down, so that means you're going to have to eat fewer calories just to maintain your weight. Some of the protein sources I would use would be things like lean meats, eggs, dairy, and tofu. But if I was still finding it hard to hit my protein target, I would definitely use a protein supplement like whey protein or pea protein. And actually, if this is something that you're currently looking into, I've got a discount code you can use to try some out in the description. I'd also make sure to include carbs in my diet so that I had the energy to actually fuel my workout so I could push hard in those sessions, and also include healthy fats, because healthy fats are so important for your heart health, your joint health, your brain health, and your hormones, which play a massive role in your body's ability to actually build muscle. Plus a whole lot of other things. Since I was starting from scratch, another thing I would do, which I didn't do when I actually started my fitness journey, is prioritize getting a whole range of fruit and vegetables in for the micronutrients. This is really important for your gut health, which is something I'm actually learning a bit more about just now. And yeah, it's something that I didn't do at the start of my actual fitness journey, which I wish I had done, because it would have had a whole lot of other health benefits that I was missing out on. Step 3 to get me out of being skinny fat is using progressive overload. This is so important when it comes to muscle growth, because you want to be continuously challenging your muscles so that they actually have a reason to adapt and grow. The main idea with progressive overload is increasing the weight or the reps that you lift over time. And the way I do it is I have my rep range, so say 8 to 10 reps. I'll first increase the number of reps, so I'd aim for 10 reps. Once I could hit 10 reps, I'd increase the weight and aim for 8 reps. And I just repeat that and progress over time. It's really simple, but as a beginner, it can take you from square 1 to square 100 so much faster than if you ignore it. If you ignore it, I honestly don't think you'd even make it to like square 10. Because if you keep lifting the same weight that you're lifting from week to week to week, then you're not challenging your muscles and you're not giving them a new stimulus to actually adapt to. Think about it like this. If you were trying to learn a new language and the only way you were trying to learn that language was reading this one sentence, you would never learn any new words because you weren't exposing yourself to those new words and you weren't challenging yourself. Pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone into those challenging areas is the times that we grow. And a similar thing can be said when using progressive overload. So to make sure that I was actually using progressive overload properly, I'd make sure that I write down the weights and the number of reps that I did for each exercise for each set every week. That way I don't have to try and remember it, it just takes a whole lot of mental stress off of me, because trust me, having to remember that I lifted 7.5 kg for 12 reps for bicep curls last Tuesday really doesn't need to take up the mental space in my head. So I'd write down my workouts, all the sets and reps, maybe just in the notes app on my phone. I'd take it to the gym, change it while I was there, and progress over time. And this one thing is what turns beginners into someone who's super strong with real muscle definition. Step 4 is I would prioritize rest and recovery. I cannot emphasize enough how important and how overlooked rest and recovery are in whatever results you want to see from your training. Rest is part of the plan, and if I was starting from scratch, I would take it as seriously as I took my training days. That is how important it is. Because when we're lifting in the gym, we're tearing our muscles down, and it's the times that we're resting when they can build back up again. And if you don't give them enough time to build back up, then training again is really counterproductive. You're just going to be tearing down your muscles further and they'll never have a chance to grow. I'd also make sure that I was getting at least 7 to 9 hours of sleep every single night, because sleep is where your body sort of resets. It's so important for your recovery, and I've personally overlooked it a lot in the past because my excuse was I was busy. But then what was I busy doing? Probably scrolling. So this time around, I would be making it non-negotiable. I would set alarms, maybe set like 2 night alarms and 2 morning alarms, so that I actually had a consistent sleep schedule and I could use my circadian rhythm to my advantage. I would start putting those healthy habits in place so that I was able to get the most out of my recovery. I actually have a whole other video on how to build healthy habits, which you should definitely check out, because you need systems in place to build those habits, and if you don't have the systems, then your habits will just fall apart. So definitely check out that video next. But as well as getting quality sleep, it's also important that you manage your stress levels, because if your stress levels are all over the place, then that's going to mess with your hormones, and that is going to mess with your recovery and probably your sleep. I know sometimes our stress levels can be really hard to get down. Trust me, when I say I know, and it's not easy, but making sure you set aside some time for some self-care or just doing activities that you enjoy and find restful, that is going to go a long way to helping you manage your stress. Step 5 is all about the mental game. One thing I've learned about getting fit is that it's not about the quick fixes. It's about the small efforts that we put in every day that add up to insane results. It's about patience and consistency. Yes, it is so important to set goals for yourself and get those quick wins, but looking at the bigger picture, your body can only build muscle at a certain rate. Your body can only lose fat at a certain rate, and trying to shortcut that could do you more harm than good. So the way I would stay consistent is by putting systems in place to build the healthy habits that would keep me on track. And that way I would make it so easy for me to go to the gym, or so easy for me to choose the healthy food options, that it would be almost impossible for me not to. I cover this in more detail in my video on habits, but essentially I'd put the barriers in place that would make it really hard for me to go back to my old bad habits, and I'd break down the barriers that were standing in my way from making it super easy to access the good habits that I wanted to start. So if I found myself eating too much sugary food late at night and it was starting to affect my sleep, I would take the cookies, put them at the back of the cupboard on the top shelf in the highest shelf of the house, and that would make it so much harder for me to actually get to them. So the activation energy that it requires for me to actually go and do that bad habit would have to be quite a lot. And as I'm personally a very lazy human being, I probably wouldn't be bothered to actually go to that effort just to get the cookies. And then that would be me starting to break that bad habit. Similarly, if I wanted to start working out in the morning, but I just never wanted to get out of bed because it's warm when you wake up in the morning and it's just so hard to get out, especially if it's cold like in the rest of the room, what I would do is I would get a friend to keep me accountable. So I would arrange to meet them at the gym or wherever I was going to work out, because that would mean I had to get up, because if I didn't get up and meet them at the gym, then I would be a bad friend. And I'm telling you, all these little healthy habits and all those little decisions will add up to get big results. But above all of that, I would really just avoid overcomplicating things. I'd focus on eating well, strength training, getting my sleep, because so often we're just bombarded with so much information, and it can really distract us from the things that we're supposed to be doing that will get us to our goal. Sometimes, a lot of the time, it is the boring little things that we do every day that will get us the results. However, all of this can be quite a lot and quite overwhelming, especially when you're starting from scratch. I know, because I was there. And what would be so helpful is having a plan, like a complete workout plan and nutrition plan made specifically for me so that I could actually reach my goals that didn't cost like £300 a month. And the good thing is, if you've made it this far in the video, I've actually been working behind the scenes to make just that. So in December, I'm going to be launching my fitness and nutrition app, which is going to have workout plans and nutrition plans tailored completely to you. This isn't like every other fitness app that just gives you the same workouts and the same meals that it gives every single other person who signs up. Every workout and meal plan in this app is going to be tailored completely to you so that you can reach your specific goals. That's why I'm so excited for this app, because I know firsthand that what works for one person probably won't work for someone else. So if you want all of the guesswork taken out of your fitness journey, then you can sign up for early access to the app in the description. I'm honestly so excited. You have no idea how excited I am. So if I lost all of my progress today, that is how I would get fast results. And remember, it's not about perfection, it's about consistent progress. It's about showing up on the days where you don't feel like you can put 100% effort in. It's putting in something every day, because something is so much better than nothing, and something will still get you results. Comment below where you're starting from so we can go and smash those goals together. And if you enjoyed the video, it would mean so much to me if you could subscribe, maybe give it a like, because it honestly, like, it genuinely helps me to be able to make more videos. And without you guys, I would literally not be able to do this. I really appreciate you, and if you enjoyed this video, I know you're going to find the new muscle growth series super helpful. We're going to be diving into how to build different muscle groups and really shape your physique. So make sure to check out this video next. See you there.